Many men feel exhausted at the same time they are gaining fat, and that combination feels deeply confusing. By this point in the series, it should be clear that fat gain and low energy often appear together for a reason. They are not opposite problems. They are connected outcomes of the same underlying metabolic state. The assumption most people make is that if energy is low, the body must be lacking fuel. But in many cases, fuel is present. It is simply not accessible. This distinction matters more than most people realize. When metabolic flexibility is reduced, the body has difficulty releasing stored energy. Fat remains locked in storage, even as energy demand increases. The system shifts toward conservation rather than availability. The result is a state where total energy stores are high, but usable energy is low. This creates the paradox many men experience. They carry more fat, yet feel tired. They eat regularly, yet feel depleted between meals. They rest, yet do not feel restored. Low energy in this context is not a signal to push harder. It is a signal of restricted access. As energy availability declines, the body responds predictably. It reduces non-essential energy expenditure. Spontaneous movement decreases without conscious decision. Motivation feels blunted. Recovery slows. This is not laziness. It is regulation. At the same time, hunger signals often become louder and less precise. The body seeks frequent intake to stabilize energy levels because it cannot rely on stored fuel. Eating becomes a way to manage energy, not hunger. This reinforces the same storage signals that created the problem in the first place. Fat gain and fatigue begin to reinforce each other. At this stage, the body begins prioritizing short-term stability over long-term efficiency. From a regulatory perspective, the goal is no longer optimal energy use. The goal is to avoid perceived energy shortfall. This shifts how signals are interpreted across the system. Small drops in blood glucose or energy availability trigger exaggerated responses. Hunger rises quickly. Stress hormones activate sooner. The margin between comfort and discomfort narrows. This is why daily life can begin to feel demanding even without major changes. Tasks that once felt neutral now require effort. Recovery from ordinary stressors takes longer. The system behaves as if resources are scarce, even when they are not. This perceived scarcity drives protective behavior. Movement becomes conservative. The body favors predictability over exploration. Energy is guarded rather than spent. Importantly, this shift is reversible in principle, but while it persists, effort feels expensive. Every demand draws from a limited pool. This makes sustained change feel unsustainable, regardless of motivation. Many men interpret this as aging or loss of willpower. In reality, it reflects a system operating with constrained access and reduced buffering capacity. Understanding this phase matters because it explains why the fatigue-fat paradox feels so persistent. The body is not resisting progress, it is protecting stability. Exercise in this state often feels unusually difficult. Effort feels disproportionate to output. Workouts that once felt manageable now feel draining. Recovery takes longer than expected. Instead of improving energy, activity may temporarily worsen fatigue. This does not mean exercise is harmful. It means the system is operating under constraint. Stress further intensifies this pattern. When energy availability is low, stress responses remain elevated longer. Cortisol rises more easily and stays elevated. Cortisol interacts closely with insulin, increasing storage pressure and further limiting access to stored energy. Sleep disturbances often appear at this stage as well. Difficulty falling asleep, fragmented sleep, or waking unrefreshed become more common. Poor sleep reduces energy availability further, amplifying hunger and fatigue the following day. The system becomes increasingly sensitive to disruption. Over time, this state reshapes daily behavior. Men begin to avoid activity without consciously deciding to. Planning feels harder. Consistency feels fragile. Small setbacks feel disproportionately exhausting. The body appears to resist effort rather than respond to it. This resistance is not psychological. It is physiological. A metabolically rigid system lacks buffering capacity. Small stressors produce large effects. Minor disruptions feel overwhelming. The margin for error narrows. In contrast, a flexible system absorbs fluctuations. Energy remains available. effort produces predictable outcomes. Recovery occurs without excessive cost. Fat loss does not feel like a constant struggle. Understanding this reframes the fatigue-fat paradox. The problem is not insufficient effort. The problem is insufficient access to energy. When access improves, energy returns before fat loss becomes visible. This is why many men notice improvements in focus, resilience, and daily energy before they notice changes on the scale. Energy restoration precedes fat loss, not the other way around. In the next video, I will explain why early metabolic dysfunction is often missed, and which subtle signs appear long before obvious weight gain or disease. On this channel, I explain metabolism using medical science. This video is for educational purposes only. This is not medical advice. Always consult your physician.